Hi. So most of you, or some of you probably saw the media coverage that occurred when I refused to shake Stephen Harper's hand a few weeks ago. There have been a lot of varying responses to this incident, and some people have firmly gone against me, and some people have given me their entire support, which is awesome. But I think that being said, with the media coverage, there's been, I think the case has become a bit too personalized and just constrained between two people in a handshake, and so I kind of want to take some time to talk about that. Stephen Harper, I'm sure as you all know, is absolutely toxic to both the national and international field of human rights. I mean, from his policy on maternal health to his policy on foreign aid to freeze it, there's countless examples, and for me, just days after the G20, for him to show up to this ceremony and think that he can use us, me, and 11 other youth artists and activists to try and salvage his image and and to make it seem as if he has supported us in our actions in the past, which is obviously not the case. That was just such a horrible experience, and little did I know that my own artwork would be played out right in front of me. The piece that I created was depicting the Canadian government's elusive display of equality and freedom for everyone, while in actuality often suppressing many marginalized groups which they should be supporting. So the Canadian government's agenda to look good while doing bad was what inspired me to create my piece, and and the theme that I used to show this was Aboriginal rights in Canada, or I guess some could say lack thereof. One argument that I wanted to touch on that I received against my decision was that there were people that claimed that I was wrong and I degraded Stephen Harper by not shaking his hand. And I also got the argument that it was very immature to not shake someone's hand just because I don't disagree with him. Well, first of all, Stephen Harper is a human being, but he's also a symbol. And he's a symbol that he's a symbol that represents a lot of terrible things on the international scale, and for many individuals, he's caused so much poverty and etc. And so, also, I think the fact that to say that it was immature to not shake his hand just because I don't disagree, I mean, I would state that apples are better than oranges, and if someone disagrees with me, then that's completely fine, and I completely support you. But I think when we talk about policies that contribute to the death and the poverty of millions of people, I don't think disagree is a strong enough word. I don't think it takes much of a stretch of the imagination to see the blood on his hands, and consider me stubborn, but I think that warrants denying a handshake. Another issue that I wanted to touch on, a criticism that I got, was that I was just being whiny and I should be sent to the war in Afghanistan to see what real human rights abuse is like. First of all, I find it entirely ignorant to think that human rights exist only in extremes, such as life and death. And most of all, I find it completely ignorant that the protesters at the G20 summit, as well as all of you here today, could be considered just fighting for your own rights, your own right to speak, just to speak on behalf, because it's so much more than that. It is that, but it's so much more. It's not about saying something, it's about what you say. And here in Canada, we have the right to speak on behalf of a lot of people who can't speak for themselves. For example, those that are in the war in Afghanistan, or perhaps the other 175 countries that were excluded from the Elite 20's Gentlemen's Club. And so this is why I think civil liberty is so precious, because we have the right to speak on behalf of millions of children that won't live to see the age 5, or the millions of women that die every year from maternal health, and also ourselves. And so when we're silenced, I think millions are also silenced with us. And when our civil liberty is threatened, together for both those that rely on us and ourselves, we need to stand up and take action against that. Thanks a lot.